I am absolutely thrilled to have Tristan from Tristan Stamps with us here on the platform. So, without further ado, Tristan, I'd love to hand over to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone all over the world. Let me begin by asking, when was the last time you met a collector under the age of 25? Not because that person inherited a collection or wanted to sell it to you, but because they chose philately for themselves. And if we're honest, where would that person even discover the hobby today? Now, what you see here, you have probably seen on my Instagram account, is a 5-second video showing a German postage stamp canceled in 1875. Over 600, no, over 760,000 people stopped scrolling to watch it. Now, this will give us something to think regarding the future of philately. And there are questions that we should be asking. When we talk about the future of our beloved hobby, we often focus our questions on declining memberships. We talk about aging collectors, about fewer attendees in stamp fairs and exhibitions. We often worry about whether the hobby is dying. But perhaps the real questions are these. Which opportunities do we have to secure philately? Where are the next generation of collectors? And how do we exactly reach them? And perhaps the most uncomfortable question of all, is philately invisible to them? Because for me, the hobby isn't dying. If you look at eBay, the indicators of the volumes of listings, for example, the hobby is very much alive. Or if you look at the frequency of auctions being held, the hobby is just not showing up where the next generation is looking. What's also important to consider is that collecting is not actually disappearing. If you look around the world today, the younger generations are rediscovering the joy of accumulating and hoarding stuff. We see vibrant communities going crazy over sneakers, trading cards, anime figures, Lego sets, and even retro video games, and of course, coins. Now, this tells us something fundamental about human behavior. People do not stop collecting. They collect what they see and what they discover. Now let that sink in. Today, discovery happens very differently than it did 30 or 40 years ago. For most young people today, we talk about the under 18s, the group who starts to find their jobs and find their way in the world, the 18 to 24-year-olds, and those who are already on the way to having careers and so on, 25 to 34-year-olds, and the 35 and above age bracket. For most young people today, discovery happens on screens. Now, these logos may be familiar to you or not. So, for example, if you talk about the under 18s, they mostly are on TikTok. They use Snapchats to communicate with each other. They are mostly on YouTube as well. And between the age brackets of 18 to 34, we talk about they are heavily dominant on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And then for the 35 plus age bracket, we see all of these people mostly on Facebook. Now, while the younger generation more than ever appreciate design, they value history, and they love storytelling, the brutal facts tell us that they are not joining our club meetings. They are not attending our stamp exhibitions. We cannot see them. We normally don't see them in auctions. And they do not walk into stamp shops either. What are they doing? They are scrolling. All right? Now, if we drill down how discovery works today, we can uncover a significant gap that separates what is visible and what is not. When millions of young people open Instagram, for example, every day, they're able to explore topics like the following, as we have mentioned: Lego, Pokemon cards, trading cards, retro gaming, coins, anime figures, or sneakers. Now look at the volume of posts. Look at these figures. The volume of posts are enormous. These communities are huge. They are active and they are very visible online. Now let's compare that to a couple of topics we are all familiar with. Philately, stamp collecting hashtags. Look at the figures. It's completely the opposite. Our hobby is almost invisible online, drowned out. So if people never encounter stamps in their digital world, they will never be curious about them. One cannot become passionate about something you cannot discover. So this was the motivation to go all in and start building a philatelic presence on Instagram. These exact figures. So at this point, it's probably a good moment to introduce myself. My name is Tristan, and I'm currently based in the Netherlands. I've been collecting since 1988 when I was 10 years old. And my current main interests are on Swiss philately, in particular studying Helvetia, Pro Juventude, the Blue Icarus airmail stamps, Pro Patria, among others. I'm also a member of the American Helvetia Philatelic Society. I hope Paul Sobon is joining us today. I also collect other definitive series of French Sowers, Germania, Alfonso, Babyheads, Ottoman Empire's stamps, and Italian Siracusana. What I enjoy is studying the printings and varieties behind the stamps. Now, aside from these areas, I also collect thematics, in particular sports, ships, and animals, and select Marco Philately topics on Swiss razor blade cancels and the German Empire horseshoe cancels. Now, in other words, both my collecting interests and method are actually very, very traditional. I went about it the way we are all familiar with. Go to stamp shows to see exhibits and buy stamps, or more recently purchase them online. Sort, study them, store them for safekeeping. I also join stamp clubs to show some of my collections, to exchange ideas and learn from the advanced collectors. But a few years ago, in 2022 to be exact, I started asking myself those questions that we have seen in the previous slide. If the next generation of collectors are not attending stamp shows, they are not joining stamp clubs, where are they? How can we reach them? If they discover other hobbies on social media, shouldn't philately be there too? So, having decided to take the social media path, there were a few things to consider before I got my feet wet. First was the selection of the right platform. Why not? You can ask why not YouTube? Why not on TikTok? Why not somewhere else? Why Instagram? So selecting the right platform is vital. It has to align with your needs, your personal style. What kind of content do I want to create and put out? Do I have the resources? And most especially, do I have the time to do it? Can I sustain doing it for long? So, what Instagram brings us is that, what it brought to me was, it was an ideal ecosystem for photos and short form videos, which is perfect for stamps. So what we want to share is, if we have a beautiful design, we discover something, we purchase something new, we want to share it. So we want to have photos to be able to do that, and you can't do that on TikTok or somewhere else because those platforms only offer videos. In addition to that, the curated visual style on Instagram, which is the what's the right term? The trademark of the platform, helps make our stamps stand out. So, meaning to say, whenever you post something, you show something, the expectation is that it is a good picture. It is a good video. It is pleasing to the eyes. It is aesthetic. And then, as we have seen in the previous slide, the age brackets that are dominant in Instagram, these are the people aged from 18 to 24, nostalgic, curious. They start to form their identities. They start to find their own person. Who am I? What I want to do? What I want to do with my career? What interests do I want to pursue? And this is a good timing to for them to discover stamps. Then we have the second age bracket that is also dominant, those 25 to 34-year olds. These people have established careers already. They have disposable income, so they can purchase stamps. And um, not to make it sound negative, but these age brackets often go into what we call a quarter life crisis. And then they start to think, okay, I need to go offline, I need to do something else, I need to pursue something else. So this is where the I need an offline hobby begins. And it's also a good opportunity for them to discover stamps. Now, what about the other platforms? For example, Snapchat. Uh, this is heavily used by the under 18s, the teenagers. Now, this there are less public posting on this app, and it's being used more and more for private communication between friends to check on how they're doing today and so on. So it's not uh, a viable platform for sharing stamps and public information. So I did not select that one. And then we have TikTok as well. Um, my concern or my challenge with TikTok is that it is heavily driven by trends. You see a lot of people dancing, you see some famous songs over and over again, and it prefers or prioritizes entertainment first storytelling. Um, Storytelling is not, I have understood that it's not one of my strengths. So I did not prioritize TikTok as the platform to begin sharing philately. It goes the same with YouTube. So we have a lot of our philatelic friends who have been long-term present on YouTube. For example, we have Graham Beck, we have Ron Pickler, we have Ken Flowers, and so on, and they have great videos over there. Um, as I've mentioned, in selecting Instagram, I need to look into my own resources and time constraints as well. So long form videos on YouTube requires more preparation to put out content. And at the moment, I do not have the proper resources to put out these long form videos. So these two apps or platforms are taking a back seat at the moment for me. Now, what about Facebook? So the philatelic community is vibrant in Facebook. There is an existing collector base. However, the app or the platform has been around for so long, it's no longer considered the youth platform. So on average, we have ages 35 and above to 60 who are dominant on Facebook. It's being used more for social circles, older social circles, community groups, and event coordination. So I was thinking, should I use Facebook or Instagram? So going back to the idea that we need to find people who are not yet into the hobby for the future. So Facebook is not that platform. So that led me to the main decision to use go ahead with Instagram. So um so going into to Instagram, um so how do we go about it? The most one of the most important things is we want viewers to remember us. So people are every day scrolling quickly on their phones, going one video after another. Some people don't even take a pause to see the whole thing. So you want something that people will remember you by. So visual identity is very important when we want to share our philatelic content on Instagram. So there are three things that can help us with that. The first important thing is a distinct profile logo, something simple that people can recognize immediately and remember. So if you wanna think about redesigning your logo, choose simple colors, couple of colors, choose simple design so that when it is scaled down, people can still recognize it when they are scrolling. A second important thing is in your profile, you must have a memorable display name, something that is also unique but easy to recall. And finally, we have to have a consistent visual style in our posts, pictures, and reels. So when these elements come together, people start recognizing your content before they have even seen the entirety of your video or before they have even read the captions accompanying your posts. So think about it like, for example, like a dealer's table at a stamp fair. Once you enter the room, some collectors recognize certain dealers immediately. They recognize the brand, and that is important on Instagram presence. Now, Instagram actually offers several different ways to share content, and it's not always photos, it's not always videos. And each format serves a slightly different purpose. So we have posts, carousels, stories, and reels. Traditional posts are great for showcasing individual stamps or beautiful pieces from a collection. So these are single photos that you can share, for example, your stamp of the day. There's a certain let's say beautiful design that you want to share with everyone. Single photo is the best option for that. Then we have carousels. So this will allow us to show multiple images. Sometimes a combination of photos and videos as well is possible. Now this is perfect for explaining varieties or showing step-by-step identification process of stamps. So if you want to do a deep dive on some of our collections and share it with everyone, then we need to have like multiple pages to show what we want to share. And carousels is the perfect option for this. Now, what about stories? So, stories are more informal. Updates, new acquisitions, or quick interactions with followers. This is the good option or the best option. And you have when you upload a story, you have a time limit of 24 hours before it expires. So it doesn't show permanently on your profile. But the one format that is especially powerful when it comes to reaching new audiences, we have reels. Mm, sorry, can you please hold on?
Yeah, you're fine. Don't worry. We've had some really nice comments while you're doing that. Yep, thank you.
So if we talk about the format that will give us a big impact or will help us reach new audiences, we talk about reels. This is best for short, engaging videos, quick stories about stamps, discovery, and reaching new audiences. So as mentioned, this this content types or styles have different purposes. Posts and carousels provide depth for collectors. Stories will connect us with our existing followers, but reels will help uh, new audiences discover our collections, our stamps. New audiences will see our hobbies and they will take interest and become curious with that. Do you still hear me well? I don't think the connection is going okay.
It's a little bit jumpy, but it's fine. Just you're absolutely fine. Just take your time, with it. We can see your next slide. We can hear you fine.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So speaking about where were we? Speaking about Reels. So we were talking about closing that visibility gap, and the Instagram tool to do that is to use Reels. So if you're already on the app or on the platform, if you have been just posting photos and multiple photos and carousels, I would highly suggest to start using Reels if we want to show, or if we want to find our potential or our future collectors. So how do these things happen? What needs to be in a reel that will make it pop off? Okay, or we can ask, why do some stamp videos reach thousands of people or even get millions of views while others flop? So let's take a look at some examples. So I think most of you have seen this video. I uploaded this one. When was that? September 2024, if I remember it right. And it has gotten 2.9 million views. 760,000 people were able to see this short video. Why is that? There are certain core elements that makes a reel go off. The first and most important one is the what we call the hook, and this is the magical first 3 seconds in a video. It has to be surprising. It has to catch the attention of somebody who is just blindly doom scrolling across reels the whole day. So some people just do this every day, right? So something must trigger them to stop scrolling and watch your video. So the first 3 seconds is very important. It has to be visual, highly intriguing visually. Now, once you hook that person to stop scrolling and start watching your video, the next thing is to trigger curiosity. So we need to give viewers a reason to keep watching. They need to go past the 3 seconds. Otherwise, we lose them and we lose the video as well. The third one is simplicity. And this is very important. The attention span of most young people online is very, very short. So the idea is we keep it simple. We show one idea per reel. We don't show too much. Otherwise, it creates confusion, and by the fourth and fifth second, people will say, "Ah, this is too much for now. I'll check another video." Then we don't want that to happen. So make it simple. Keep the curiosity going, and lastly, end it with a bang. End it with something satisfying or a reveal. So if we let me just put this. Yeah. If we replay the video, we have the hook of the first instance. It's like the viewer would, upon seeing this video, the viewer would say, "Okay, something is going on here. What is that design at the top, the upper right corner, and what is it related to with the design at the center?" The next few seconds, the person seeing this may react, "Oops, this stamp is going to fit with the design at the center." So the curiosity rises, right? With a simple single idea. Will it fit? Will it not? So the excitement goes up within the next 4 or 5 seconds. And we reach the end, the reveal, and with something satisfying. Now we have a second example. This video also performed well. It went to get uh, close to 94,000 views, and this is longer. This is, I think, 15 to 20 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. So if we look at the video, it has the four core elements as well: the hook, curiosity, simplicity, and the reveal. Now, what we see here is that I introduced something what we call a text hook. So sometimes the video itself won't be able to tell the person what is happening. So we need to pull them by something that they can read. So we put the text hook at the beginning. So that can also be helpful at most times. Now, what about this video? So this did not perform well. It only got 2K views across both Instagram and Facebook. If you look at it over and over again, it's not really enticing. Okay, so the first instance you ask, what is going on here? I don't know. It's a postcard. It's got some postmarks, but what is going on? The curiosity level does not increase over time. It's simple, yeah, it's one idea, but the end is not satisfying as well. So if you look at the statistics on this video, people stop watching on the third second. They scroll past this video. So if you don't have the surprising or intriguing visual or text hook, people won't watch your video. And that's the problem with social media platforms. Your video, your content, your post won't be recommended to an additional set of or group of people if the first few viewers did not like it or did not engage with it. So great stamps, great stamp reels do not teach everything. They are intended to spark curiosity. Now, when we decide to become present on social media, particularly on Instagram, we need to have what we call basic content creation skills. Not everybody, not all collectors have the knowledge to to take photos, to talk about lighting setups, to take videos. But this can be learned, and it's also important to get this basic content creation skills in addition to our philatelic experience and knowledge. Is that because social platforms reward content that is visually engaging and widely appealing, as we have seen in those videos that we have analyzed in the previous slide. So if you talk about photos, please, let's do away with low quality, underexposed, and blurry photos. Again, Instagram is an aesthetic platform. It has been established on the basis of on the basis of beautiful photos, highly or beautiful photos. That's why we have the term, is that picture Instagrammable? Because it is aesthetic. So let's do away with bad photos, especially for our stamps. But to be able to take good photos, do we need sophisticated equipment? No. Phone camera is perfectly fine. I've been using an old iPhone 11 for the longest time. I've switched to a newer phone recently, but phone cameras are okay. What's important is take your photos, shoot your videos with a lot of light. So meaning to say natural light, shoot during daytime. That is important. And of course, if we talk about stamps, we talk about the beauty of the designs. Zoom in. Close-ups look better than not. And in terms of technical requirements of the platform, we need to shoot or to take the photos in portrait format. Vertical format posts capture more attention than horizontal ones. So meaning to say, when people scroll, a vertical photo will take their attention better as compared to something that is horizontal. They can just scroll past that. Then if you would also like to have fancy text overlays or to include in your photos, then you can do that directly into Instagram right before uploading, or you can also use external apps. So in my case, I use Canva for adding text overlays or enhancing the photos. Now, what about Reels? So what do we need to have in terms of let's say basic technical skills to do this? We need to remember that uh, on Instagram, the maximum length for a video is 3 minutes. You cannot upload longer than 3 minutes. And the optimal length for a video to perform well and to increase your reach is between 7 and no, sorry, this is a typo error. 7 to 15 seconds, not minutes. 7 to 15 seconds. Um, Please also avoid shaky videos. Use a tripod or a phone holder. These are not expensive to purchase. Keeping the camera steady, we can free both of our hands so we can move about with our stamps and take better angles and so on. So as long as we have stable uh, um, recording, then it will be uh, better performing. Again, take videos with plenty of light and also shoot vertical. So Instagram is always on the portrait mode. And optional editing tools. You can upload the reels directly into Instagram. It has its own editing functionalities. You can do that there. It's perfect. It's fine. Now, if you want to add more fancy text overlays and effects and so on, then I would suggest a couple of editing tools that I have been using. The first one is called Edits. It's directly connected with Instagram and of course also Canva. Now that we have done with the technicalities of Instagram and social media, let's talk about the pros and cons, the realities of advocating philately on social media. So the advantages is that we can share and show our collections to more people than ever in a more frequent manner. So if you traditionally we have our stamp clubs, we have our trade fairs, our exhibitions. We can show our collections, we can exhibit and show it to I don't know, maybe hundreds of people at a given time. But on social media, we can show it to thousands every day, morning, afternoon, evening, as often as you want. And there are also disadvantages within Instagram itself, within its technical design, plus the scrolling behavior of users. This provides a hindrance when we want somebody to move from the discovery stage. Let's say, oh, this is a nice stamp, to research. This is a nice stamp. I want to know about it more. So Instagram is a little bit holding that back because, for example, there is no possibility to add clickable website links within the reel itself, or even on the accompanying caption. You cannot include links, so there's no way to direct a person seeing a blue Icarus Swiss stamp to the AHPS website. We cannot do that in when we upload reels. So that's a bummer in this case. Now, what about the challenges that we may face when we try to be present on social media as philatelists? One is how do we condense complex philatelic knowledge into short videos without oversimplifying? So this has been a challenge on a daily basis for me. So if I want to discuss the many varieties of the standing Helvetia, how can you do that in 7 seconds? Is it really possible? Or can I do short videos sequence one after another? How do we do that? So that's one thing that we are always faced with. And then technical philatelic content may struggle to reach large audiences. So for example, the traditional topic on postal history, a lot of us want to share our findings about a postal route, how franking is computed, what are the postage dues, and so on and so forth, and what happens to this particular cover that has a lot of stamps, where did it go to, and so on. So when we go really into these deep technical topics, the chances that people will pick it up within these apps in on TikTok and Instagram is lower. So we need to find a good balance between um, deep dives and having to entertain our audiences, if that's the right term. Being present on Instagram also can lead to burnout. So balancing content creation with actual collecting and research, we also have to manage that one. And again, creating content that appeals to people outside the hobby. So the if I go back to my to the goals and targets that I had set when I started to open this philatelic account, how can I reach people outside the hobby? If I show them something, would they be interested? What kind of content do they want to see? Do they want to see my stamps? What kind of stories do they want to hear, and so on? So that's a struggle as well. And another thing, managing online interaction and responding constructively to, especially to criticisms, while maintaining credibility. So you have a public account, anyone can make comments on what you post, on what you upload, and some are really um, ina- inappropriate. Some will have negative comments, so we have to learn how to deal with those and not be carried away with nasty feedback, which happens most of the time. So these challenges are new and real, but the opportunity to reach new collectors has never been greater. So the advantage is always there. Now for opportunities and next steps. So I'm thinking, so I've been doing for what is it, 3 years now? Photos, reels on Instagram mostly. I'm present on Facebook, but I repurposed my Instagram content, upload them to Facebook, upload them to TikTok, and so on. So what I want to do next is to reestablish my presence on TikTok and try to reach out those audiences. And the platform behaves differently, as we mentioned earlier. It is driven by trends, driven by entertainment first, education second approach. So I would like to reposition myself there as well. And also probably I've been really thinking about expanding my reels to long form videos on YouTube. But then again, I have time constraints. So let's see where we are in the next few months. And for opportunities, in terms of collaboration, I'm thinking about, let's say, for example, working closely with clubs and societies. The purpose is that when when a person seeing our reels on Instagram or on TikTok, we want them to move or to take the next step from discovering the stamp to researching about it. We want them to move from the video to our society websites. We want them to see materials. We want them to see the YouTube videos that our expert philatelic friends are where they're explaining the details of the stamps and the collections. We want to do that. So the idea is that how can we, what is a good way, how can we come up with ideas to transition from discovery to research. So working with clubs and societies should be a good start, in my opinion. Another opportunity that we can talk about is with dealers. So I would highly recommend for dealers to start being present on Instagram. So the business is vibrant today. Auctions are going well. Uh, In-person exhibits are also being done on a regular basis still. But we think about the future. We think about the age brackets that we want to secure. So your presence on Instagram, on TikTok is vital for that. And what we can do is probably, for example, if you don't have the resources to start your own Instagram accounts, we can work together. Or if you want some guidance, reach out to me. I can help you out. Get started on Instagram. So let's do this for the future. So again, the future of philately depends on visibility. If the next generation never sees stamps, they will never discover them. They need to see them. So together, let's bring philately to where discovery happens, from clubs, exhibitions, auctions, and now on social media. So thank you, everybody.
I'm going to start with some technical questions that have come in just to fire them at you. So the first
All right.
question is, how much do you think music and the choice of music affects the success of a reel?
Yes, it affects it so much. So when we choose a song for to accompany a particular photo or a reel, we have to stop thinking about ourselves. You know? So most of the time, if we have a stamp from, I don't know, from the 1920s, as collectors we become nostalgic. We find our songs that we want and put that on the video. Now our audience may not know that song, so for them it's irrelevant. So what we need to do is find what is trending today, but also sort of appropriate for the video and the photo. So these trending songs actually drive the the virality of the content. So more younger people will be able to see that. So that's the reality of the app or of the platform. So
So when
we
on
try as much
Instagram,
as
you
possible to refrain from our songs, use the trending ones,
use the trending
but
one.
not
So on
overly
Instagram, you
trending
can
that is not.
use,
Yeah,
yeah, great. And
exactly. Yeah.
what do you think about sharing the posts as stories? So many companies will do a post like a single a carousel or a video and then share that as a story kind of automatically 24 hours later or whatever. What do you think about doing that with all posts or
Mm.
some posts?
Ah, yeah. This particular question has been asked in the weekly Q&A with the CEO of Instagram. What he said is that it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't change anything. But I tried to do some experiments. For example, I uploaded a reel 2 days ago, and then I share them in stories today. Now there are actually people out there who do not watch the reels, but they watch stories all the time. So if you upload that later, some people may catch up. So it's not a problem actually, but do not
Yeah.
overdo it. So if you try to post stories, I don't know, every other minute, and you have like 20 stories pending, people will skip your profile. So one or
Yeah,
two
you don't
stories a
want that.
day is fine. Yeah.
Thank you. There was a question earlier about how do you kind of protect yourself against the burnout of feeling like you have to create content all the time, but also the question is, do you reply to comments and do you reply to messages, and does that affect the algorithm?
Yes, it does. So with 24, 48 hours after uploading your video or your photo, as much as possible, if you can, reply to the comments, because this will mean that your post is active, it's alive, people are engaging. So the more people are talking within the comment section of your post or reel, then it can be further pushed to another set of people, and more people will do the same thing.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
But then again, um, reply to the most, I don't know, probably I can say 5, 10 commenters a day. People, if 30 people make comments, it will eat a lot of your time. So you also have to manage yourself.
Yeah. And
Mm.
how long does it take you roughly to create a 15-second reel?
It depends. If it's a technical one, like the standing Helvetias, it takes a lot of time for me. Probably 4 hours because it's technical. But for the other videos that I show, I don't know, a beautiful design and so on, uh, 10 minutes.
What is
Mm.
your view on? I think you actually posted something about this today that should you start talking over some of your videos? What's your view on language and how language affects the algorithm? Is English key? Should you have multiple languages? I know that some of our PTS members will post Instagram content and they'll have their home language and then they'll have English underneath. Is there any views on that?
Instagram actually is supporting that idea. They have an automatic uh, translating engine powered by AI, but it's currently limited to a few languages. So, for example, you record your video in Spanish, you can have it played automatically in English if your audience is English speaking, and so on. Um, or the other option is to have captions that can be automatically translated as well. So yeah, so in my case, English, and then I haven't really explored, to be honest, um, putting putting captions automatically showing on the videos and having them auto translated. So that's a good point to consider moving forward as well.
Are you thinking of making more niche content to post on other platforms which do not require mass appeal to get traction?
For now, the immediate plan is to how do I utilize TikTok. That's I want to do next. And for the other platforms or other let's say avenues, I will check on that as well.
So there's a question here which is around conversion. So you've got people 2.9 million views on a video, and you said working with clubs and societies as part of the idea of getting these people who might be new to philately to come into that. So is that the goal to get people to move into organized philately from that kind of social philatelic sphere? Or do you feel like we need to build
Yes, yes,
something?
that is the intention. That is the intention. Um, the thing is that out of this, I don't know, 700,000 people who viewed the video, would they become collectors? We don't know. It's the same question as if somebody walks past the table of a dealer, would they buy the stamp? We don't know. But the important thing is that the collection, the stamp, the hobby was made visible to those, and that will trigger curiosity, and curiosity creates interest, and interest is the first step in collecting. So hopefully they will become collectors. They will become serious collectors as well.
So part of this campaign is to try and get more societies and clubs, dealers, auction houses to start using social media to be able to help people discover our amazing hobby. So that's you pushing
Exactly.
on. on that world. My question to you
Exactly.
is, do you think that organized philately needs to do something different so that when you do attract the people in from social media, that they have a safer or more relevant home for them to land into?
What I would suggest is in the promotional side. So, for example, if a fair, if an exhibit is coming up, we need from this is only my opinion. We need to do more promotion. No, we need to do, I don't know, reels on TikTok. We need to do reels on Instagram. Tell people that something is happening, something big, something fun is happening. If people can see this every day, they will become curious. What is going on at Boston 2026? Should I go? What can I see there? But right now, if I'm being honest, I only see static posts, static promotions, and these static promotions doesn't reach the young people.
Thank you so much, Tristan, for a very informative,
Thank you
very
as well.
inspirational. I think we're all now thinking about how can we take some of the amazing advice that you've given us today and insights you've given us in our own societies and our own networks. How can we support you as well? And I'm sure that this is the start of the journey for many. So thank you for kicking that off. Is there anything that you would like to add before we close?
Start
Again,
sharing your stamps online, please.
that's it. That's as simple as it gets. Thank you again, Tristan. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone. See you around.
We hope to see you at our next Stampex show, at Virtual Stampex or in person in London.